Hello everybody and welcome back to Codebase channel, where you learn about web development tutorials and other tech skills. So we are still continuing with CSS, and like always, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so that you'll be updated whenever we post up a new video online. So without further ado, let's carry on. In this video we're going to learn about CSS borders and border radius. Let's carry on. Now, in the last video, we were able to touch the bare basics of CSS. We touched the margins and paddings. Alright, I explained to you guys how margins and paddings worked, and I showed you guys proper examples here. And that is what brought about this little box we have here with this text inside. So now we're going to touch the borders and border radius. So the borders represent the edge of the borders represent the edge of the element here. That is the edge of this box that is here. So talking about borders means simply styling up the borders, and we need to do this when you're designing your work. Not all the time, but it's, it helps to have the knowledge. So we are going to target this class of box down here, and now we are going to do what? Target its borders. So without further ado, let's head down. So just like margin and padding, borders has individual size that we can target. We can target the left border, the right border, the top border, or the bottom border, or we can target all the borders at once. And the border styling has different styles and different colors that is applied to it. So let's touch it one by one. All right, let's start with the short form. Okay, no, let's start with the general form. Now normally if you want to target the border, the first thing you have to do is say border, then choose which side of the border you want to target. So I'll say border left. Then I will now choose what do I want to apply to the border left. Is it the color, is it the width, is it the style? I have to choose one of those things that is there. So in this scenario, I will say border left color, and I'll say it is red. I'll say border left style. Now there are different styles to your border. Okay, there are different styles to your border. We have multiple styles. There is solid, as you can look at it here in the list that the VS Code brought out. There is dash, dotted, double groove, hidden, inherit, initial, onset, outlet, read, but this is not all of them. Solid and more. So I'm going to use the most basic one, which is solid. The solid border is a straightforward border with no design whatsoever. So I say border left solid. Then I'll say border left width. This one represents the thickness of the border, how thick I want the border line to be. That is the border left width. So if I say 10 pixels here, and we come and look at it in the browser, you can see now this is our left border that is right here, and you can see how thick it is with the 10 pixels I gave to it. Okay, if this 10 pixels thickness is not enough, you can simply increase it. I can come and say, okay, let the thickness not be 10 pixels but 40 pixels. And if I come back to the browser, this is the 40 pixels thickness. You can see here the left border has gotten thicker and it has gotten bigger. Now at the same time we can shorten this entire code to one line of code as well. That is if you want to target only the border left side though. So to do that, all you have to do is simple. Let me comment this one out as always. Then I'm just going to come down here and do the thing real quick. All you have to say is border left. Then you just have to declare the width, the style, and the color you want. So the style, width, and color you want. So all I have to just do is say solid, 40 pixels, and red. So with this, I've given my border left its width, its style, its width, and its color. And if I come back to my browser, it is still the same result I'm going to get. So you can see it's relatively easy. Okay, so using the same method, we can target the border right, the border bottom, the border top. All you have to just do is come and say border left. Then I can say border top, dashed. That's another border style, 40 pixels green. I can say border bottom, groove, 40 pixels blue. Okay, yeah. Now I can say border right, and I can use another style entirely. Let's see, dotted, 40 pixels, let's see, red, green, blue, orange. Just give it a random color, it doesn't matter at this point. And if we come back to your browser here, now take a look at our border. Let's change that border bottom from blue. Let's make this blue to be light Okay, yeah, let's make it pink. Okay, and if we come back to the browser, you can see that each side of our border has a different style to it. The right side has the dotted, and you can see it has one kind of rounded design to it border. This dashed border top has this dashed, dash design, is dash style, and you can see it has this little block kind of design. And then the border bottom has this groove design. It's almost like a 3D design. Alright, you can see that it has like almost two colors. It has two lines in it. It has like a color variant included in it, and that is the groove border that is there. At the same time, we can also target all sides of the border at once. We don't need to target each one like this. As you already know, we can just easily target all sides of the border at once by simply saying border. I mean, this I'll just say solid 40 pixels red, and if you come back to your browser, this is it. Right, this is the short form for targeting all sides of the borders. That is all border sides, or all sides of the border, yes. And if you come here, but it applies all round. Alright, if I just change this solid to dashed, or let's say ridge, and I come back to my browser, you will see that the border style has changed, and this ridge almost makes our border looks almost like, gives like a 3D effect. It gives our border like a 3D effect. You can see it here clearly, and it's kind of cool in its own way. So with that, we finished touching border. Remember, we can target the individual side of the border, or you can decide to target the border properties individually by saying border left color, border left red. Remember, with this way we did this border left color, border left style, border left width. You can also do border right color, border right style, border right width, or you can even do border top color, and so on and so forth. Or you can come and target the the side generally like this: border right, border bottom, border top, border left. Or if you want to give your border, if you want to give your elements an all-round border, you can easily just set the border property directly here, like I've done. So get this. Okay, so last but not least, let us touch border radius. Now, as you can see in this our element here, the border has a sharp pointed edge to it. The edges here are pointed and straightforward and sharp. The work of border radius is to help us curve the edges of our border. So that is, if we want to curve the edge of our border, we make use of the border radius property. And just like border and just like the normal border, we can target the individual corners of our borders. Alright, that means I can come and say border top left radius. I can say 24 pixels. Border top right radius, I can see 48 pixels. Border bottom left radius, I think I misspelled something. Okay, I didn't put my semicolon there. Plus 24 pixels again, that's 72 pixels. Then border bottom, left I did, okay, sorry, right radius, then that is 96, right? 96 pixels. And with this, I've targeted each individual corner, the individual corners of my element. And if I come back here, you can see that the edges have curved according to what I've done, according to the figures I did to it. Now, it's not looking as good as it was looking before, but that is not the point. The point is to introduce border radius to you guys, and you can see that the edges of my elements has been curved here. All right. So as you can see, using the border radius properties, by targeting the individual sides, I was able to curve the edges of my shape to give it a new look entirely. Okay. Now we use this border radius for both our grids, our cards, our buttons, and all that. But like I said, we're going to make use of this in the practical stage. As we go forward, I will show you where you can apply borders to create a unique design in your elements, to give your element a unique design. Sorry, that's what I meant, to give your element a unique design. But for now, the main thing of this, the main purpose of the video is for you to understand how the borders and the borders radius work. Alright, border radius helps you curve the edges of your elements to give it a unique style of its own. Okay, now that we're done with this, we can also remember there's always a shorthand property to it. So let's comment this one out. So I'll show you the shorthand property. It's pretty easy. And the shorthand property is just to say border and then give it a figure. If I say border for the 2 pixels, that means it's to give it for the 2 pixels all round. Come here. Oh, sorry, border radius, not border. I mean border, sorry, border radius for the 2 pixels. That means the shape will curve all round by what? For the corners of the what? My element will be for the 2 pixels all round. As you can see here, the border radius on all sides is equal. Then we can also give it 2 figures as well, 42 pixels by 64 pixels. And if I come back to the browser, you will look at it. Now, what do you notice? The top left corner and the bottom right corner are equal, but the top right corner and the bottom left corner are also what? Equal as well. So you can see that that's what 2 figures does here. Then if we give it 3 figures, we see 72 pixels. And you come back to the browser, what do you notice? The bottom left and the top right are equal, but the top left and the bottom right are not equal. The bottom right took its own figure while the top left took its own border corner radius. And if you come and give it 4 figures, pixels, right? 42, 64, 72. I'll just give it 58 pixels. No, 82 pixels. Yeah, that's okay. And we come back to the browser. Then each individual side will have its own corner radius. You can see clearly here. Sorry about this. You can see clearly displayed here in the browser. If you want to see the properties more, you right click on it and go to inspect elements. If you want to see it more, let it in load. Alright, and then we have it right here. It won't show here because this is just to show the box model. But we can clearly see our border radius written here. So what happens when you use the font did it just like what the padding and the margin is that it starts from the top left corner, then it goes clockwise. So the top left corner is 42 pixels being the smallest radius, and that's what we have here, followed by the top right corner, which is 64 pixels, which is what we get here. Then it goes down to the bottom, which is 72 pixels, and we have this bigger corner radius here, and also we now have the 82 pixels, which is the final one, which then goes to the bottom right, the bottom left radius, and that's where it stops. So practice this border radius, play around with it. All right, so let's do a simple. Okay, let me show you a simple example of the border radius and border like we just did right now. Let me show you a simple design of the border radius and border. Let's leave this div alone. I'm just going to come here and put a button tag. All right, I'm going to say button, type button. Then we're going to give it ID equals to click, just for the click, and I'm going to give the text click me. So I'm going to use borders and border radius to style up this my button that is here, to show you a clean example of how we apply borders and border radius. All right, so let's ignore this and let's create our new selector for hashtag click. Remember, when you want to target the ID of an element with CSS, we make use of the hash character, then followed by the value of the ID here. So now let's start this thing up. So I'm going to give my button a width. I'm going to say width should be equals to 120 pixels. Height, I'm not going to give it a height, I'm just going to say height auto. So that means automatically adjust the height of the button according to the contents and the spacing inside the button. That's what it simply means. Then I'm going to target the font, that is the text inside my button. I'm going to say font family to change the writing style of my button, and I'm going to use my favorite as always, Tahoma. I don't know why it's my favorite, but I just like it. Then I'm going to say font size, that is the size of my text. And the size of my text, I'm going to give it 16 pixels. Then I'm going to make the color of the text should be white. Okay, now that we're done with this, I'm going to do margin and padding. So I'm going to say padding, which is the space inside the button this time. So padding, I'm just going to say 12 pixels top and bottom by 16 pixels left and right. Remember, when you call out your padding and you use 2 figures, it goes top, bottom, left and right. And if I do this now and we come and look at our button, this is what we have here. Oh, I forgot to give it a background color. Sorry about that. Let's give it a background color. I'll say background color should be blue. Okay, let's make it red for now. And you can see we have our buttons here. But if you look at our buttons closely, you can see that at the edge of the button we have a black outline, and that is because by default our button has a default border settings. By default it comes with a border property. So we have to take away that border property if we want to style up this our button. So before I do that, I'm going to give it margin as well. So I'm going to the same thing. I'm going to say margin 20 pixels by 40 pixels, and just like padding, this two figures simply means 20 pixels top and bottom, 40 pixels left and right. But this is the space outside of the button entirely, and it's going to position our button right here, and I'm okay with this. Now, so I can either decide to leave this little line that is here. That is, I can decide to style up this line, that's the border of my button, or I can decide to take it out depending on the style I want to give my button. So let's take it out. For example, let me start it up. I can simply say, no, let's take it out entirely. So I'm going to say border. So take out the border. If your element has a border that you don't want in it, all you have to just call out. All you have to do is call out the border property and say none. And this will remove every form of border from your elements. As you can see, this button has no border anymore. Then if I want my button here to have curved edges, what do I need to do? All I have to just come and say is border radius. And I can say, okay, let me make the border radius 42 pixels. And now we have this little button that is here. Can you see we have our peel button? This is referred to as a peel button. You will learn more about it as we carry on, especially in Bootstrap. In Bootstrap, you refer to this kind of button as a peel button. But you can see how we've styled this our button up using just basic things like padding, margins, borders, and border radius. And this is what we've gotten so far. If you don't want your borders, if you don't want the edges, if you don't want your button to curve this much, you can edit it a little. Just come here and say, okay, let the border radius be 8 pixels. And if you come here, you still have this simple but stylish button that is here. So you can see we can apply borders and border radius. And this doesn't just go with buttons, it goes with several other elements that we are going to make use of in our CSS tutorial. So again, remember, you can play around with this. Remember, you can always play around with this thing I've taught you now. Try it out with buttons and other elements. It does not necessarily must use your button tag. You can try it out with your A tag, with your div tag, and so on and so forth. Alright, if I come here and I add an A tag, let's add an A tag. A href is equals to hash. You know what this thing does already. You learned it in HTML. Then we're going to put ID. I'm going to call it click, so it will have the same ID as the button, and I'm going to be like I'm going to call the button don't click me. Now, as you already know, simply because this A tag has the same ID as this button, what is going to happen? It is going to automatically inherit the CSS property of this button. So if I come back to my browser, we have another color like this. We have another button, but as you can see, this one is underlined. Alright, so I can take away this underline. It's not actually hard at all with CSS. All you have to do is come and give it a certain property, but that is not the point. The point now is to show you that you can style up you can style up your button or your normal anchor tag or normal elements using the borders, the border radius, and the basic things you've learned so far. So I advise you guys to play around with this and practice. In our next video, we're going to touch the CSS colors. We're going to talk about colors in CSS and then text. Alright, so now that we're done with this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you can be updated whenever we post a new video. If you have any questions, please don't forget to ask us in our comment section or join our group chat and ask your questions there. We'll be more than happy to reply to your questions. So with this, we are done for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.